Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Divine Essentials. Alright guys, we're going to talk about the Archons, but first off I just wanted to say I received some messages on my website today, and they were from visitor numbers. I did email one person because they gave me their email address, but the other person I messaged you back. I don't know if you'll get it because it's like the live chat thing. Somebody asked me, like, did the thing go through for the Munay key, and it didn't. And that happened last week with somebody. The first attempt didn't go through, but the second attempt did. So I just wanted to let people know, like, if you go on my website and for some reason you're trying to use PayPal and it, like, takes you to a blank screen, it most likely didn't go through. You can, of course, check with me first or check your PayPal balance. It was messed up last week. It seems to be kind of giving people trouble this week. Thankful, grateful for the people who are reaching out. A couple of people asked me about doing the Munay Rites in person, and I've also had people who want to do the Munay Rites that are already available for you to do, and those are on sale right now. Put them down. So if you're somebody that's like wanting to do the Munay Rites, you can go on my website right now for $111 and get all 9 of them. We're going to move on to the Archons. Now, I think it's most likely that the people who come here, it's not that you're like, I think I'm an Archon. Hopefully. You could be. I don't know. Hope not. But anyways, they're considered, like, the Archons are considered the rulers. Like, that's what the Archons kind of, like, mean or equate to. There's a lot of different beliefs with this. And this was so funny because, like, I went into Chat GPT, right? And I was like, give me the top 20 things, like the top 20 traits of an Archon, and it was like, this is a, spiritual blah 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 blah. Like, it would not give it to me. It was like, be more clear about it, and I worded it like 20 different ways, and it was still like, no. So I'm like, all right, the rulers, the ones in control, don't want us to know. So then I went to the Bard one from Google, and I ended up typing in like New Age spiritual beliefs. They gave me back some, but still was like, the first few attempts was like, no, that's a spiritual, like, it could mean so many things, which is odd because any of the other ones that I did, like the reptilians, this thing, that thing, they're like, oh yeah, no problem. But the rulers, we're hiding that one. And I think people are going to have different ways of thinking about these, and I know different people, yeah, they just equate it to different stuff. Like, they may think of it as just like these entities, or they may think of it as ET entities, or they may think of it as spiritual, like devils and demons and whatever. And I feel like, again, no matter how you think of it, you're gonna see that manifested in some way. But I think of, like, if the Archons themselves, right, I think of it as more of like an essence or an energy. It could be equated into like the ones that manipulated DNA. It could be the ones that manipulate our lives, like the reptilian people on the planet and stuff like that. But for humans, like, I think the only people that would be like, oh, my soul resonates with the Archons are sociopaths or killers or very, very toxic, twisted narcissists. Because the traits with them and the things that equate to them aren't good things, controllers, they're manipulators, the rulers, right? Like, they're going to do whatever they can to keep things hush-hush, or to keep things the way that they want it. They're going to trick and manipulate people to fall under their guise of like, oh, look at this amazing thing. Like, I literally just saw one of those people who does like a podcast interview, like news broadcast thing. It was weird. I've seen him before talk about all different types of topics. And he was saying, like, would you put a chip in your hand to get paid $2,000 every month to put this chip in your hand? And, like, they're talking about doing that. Like, oh, yeah, because they want to roll out this whole, like, digital currency thing. But, like, that's a recipe for disaster, and it sounds great, right? Oh, I get $2,000 every month for putting a chip in my hand. Well, let's ask why. Think about things that we've already done on the planet that people were like, oh, it sounds great. Or were fear-mongered into doing. Another thing I saw today was a girl. She was a young girl, like 10 years old. They were doing like these testings with shots that had never been used on anybody. They were like, oh, we're going to test a bunch of people. And these parents were like, yeah, sure, test it on my kids. And the only kid that got the actual dose got extremely sick. And then they tried to like make it be like, oh no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. She's totally fine, but now she's not. But it wasn't that. Like, they were trying to say it was anxiety. that made her so that her legs wouldn't work. Like, there's so many things. But again, they make it seem, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to protect you. This is going to help you. Oh, now you've got myocarditis and you can't walk and you can't talk and you ruined your whole life. Oh, that's great. We're just going to not talk about that. What's the matter, buddy? What's the matter? May try to influence others in situations, often through subtle or covert means. So again, oh, look at over here. Disassociate from emotions. They're going to have difficulty expressing like authenticity. They may be very cold and calculating. Again, like that type of energy is just like, I'm very evil. You know, like I don't feel. I'll be very arrogant, superior, like thinking like they know what's best all the time, even if it's detrimental to others. It's like, whatever, like this is for me and it's okay. Belief in being intellectually superior, thinking that they're the only ones that have like ideas, or that their information that they've gathered is the only information that's good. A tendency to dismiss or belittle others' perspectives, because again, there's a way to have opposing opinions and not be so like with people about it. I gotta help the dog. So yeah, there'd be a lack of empathy, a lack of compassion, inability to connect with others, an inability to connect with the suffering of others or the perspectives of others. Like, they'd be the type of people or the type of entity or the type of energy that would just be like, suck it up. What's wrong with you? Like, and won't even try to see through others' eyes. And then maybe they even go through, like, I just had a conversation with someone who was like, you know, like, oh my God, Lyme is horrible. And I was like, yeah, I know. And when I got Lyme, it changed my perspective on somebody that I knew in the past that had it. Because I didn't have it then, I couldn't fully understand what they were going through. It wasn't that I like didn't believe them or thought less of them or like whatever. I just couldn't understand to the degree that that person was going through. But I think in an Archon energy, they wouldn't even try. They wouldn't even care. They would just like, you know, tell you to suck it up, get over it. So strong attraction to materialism and power. Going to be greedy. There's going to be a focus on just acquiring wealth, status, and control as primary goals. And we see that in our world right now. So like, I really feel like the Archons or the controllers or this energy is present. It's there. But we don't have to be susceptible to it, which we are susceptible to it. All of us have these tendencies within us. We've got to remind ourselves constantly and not get inundated by those things or brainwashed by those things. You know, it's like, we just got to be careful. Tendencies exploiting others for personal gain with little regard for their well-being. So again, like that type of thing. I'll do this and it'll be fine. We're going to see. And then when we find out the answers, we're not going to tell anybody about the answers because it doesn't matter. That goes against what we wanted. So we're going to keep that part of it hush hush. But we're going to, you know, market it to sound amazing and continue on with our plans and our goals. Excessive focus on appearance and social status, a deep need for external validation, recognition. So again, if this type of energy was like coming over you, which a lot of people could have moments where they're feeling the pressures of those things, you may get like super hyper focused on like changing your appearance or wanting validation from outside people or dressing certain ways that really don't serve you. And then addiction to drama and chaos, like they thrive on that. And you may see that in certain people who have those traits where it's like, if they know something's going on in your life that's not good, they're right there. They love it. They feed on it. They're like, yeah. And they may, again, be like, oh, let me pretend that I care or that I'm helpful. But it's more so just they want to fill up on your misery. They want to fill up on your pain. They want to fill up on your whatever you're going on that's emotionally happening. And again, with the Archon energies or the entities, they will come in and manipulate from the outside and start to make you feel crazy and start to make you go through those experiences so they can suck on your energy. So again, there's multiple layers of this. I feel like there's the physical beings on the planet that are under the energy of this. There's souls that just kind of come about, like you've seen these serial killer children, right? They just come about and it's like innately within them. So I feel like those would be the souls that just are strongly carrying that type of frequency. But then there's the people who get into the places of power and it almost like takes over them you know, and that's what I mean. We're all susceptible to it. Like, we can all become this way if we allow ourselves to be. There's like the light and the dark. So I look at it as like overall, you know, we can all be influenced by these things. An inability to take responsibility for their actions, always blaming others or external factors for whatever's going on in their lives, 11:11 on the clock. So like they're never going to be like, oh, I messed up, or I didn't do this, or I should have, you know. It's always like they, or this, but it will never be self. Again, you hear these things is very much like that narcissistic, predatory, sociopathic type of presence in the planet. They can be very charismatic, and they can be very deceptive in that way, where it's like you will see one part of them, but nobody else will get that part of them, you know, like especially if you get close to someone like that who's a sociopath or a narcissist or has this type of ruler energy, the Archon energy. They will be showing you the sides of them that nobody else sees, so everybody will think you're crazy for seeing that in them. And I feel like a lot of us light workers or empaths, healers, we always attract these things into our lives, or these people into our lives at varying degrees, at varying points in our world, because they're an opposing force. It's that light and that dark. So you've just got to be aware of it and not let it like overcome and take you with them. They may be projecting outwardly a charming personality while masking the manipulation that they're actually doing. Be very like, they're not going to believe in the goodness of things. They're not going to believe in the goodness of humans because they don't have that. So they're not going to, like, they can't imagine that there's good people because they're not good people. Like, everybody's evil and everybody's bad because they are. You know, they're going to have a lot of negativity towards spiritual growth and, like, practices that will better your mind. They'll be like, what are you talking about? That's not going to work. You're so stupid. And make it harder for you to grow. Make you harder for you to rule over yourself. Make it harder for you to be in your power. Any type of enlightening is just delusional. You're just a delusional person. A hierarchy, like having people who should be in power, like they're better. They have that special certificate. They have that thing that they did that makes them, so we should all listen to them, you know. And they would be the ones on the other side of that, like, yes, you should all listen to me. They would probably often place themselves on that side of things of like, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm good, you're bad. Even though they know that everybody's evil, right? Because they don't believe in the goodness. But if they're gonna acknowledge either side of it, they're gonna always acknowledge themselves as, you know, higher than others. Fascination with dark themes, an attraction to death, distraction, manipulation of unseen stuff. These are the ones that I feel like would be doing some messed up stuff. Like, yeah, I do rituals and I do tarot cards and things like that. These are the ones that are gonna be doing, like, you know, some sacrificing and things that are just like questionable, and hexing. Like, literally, there's never a reason to hex somebody. Literally, there's never a reason to hex somebody. I would never do that because I don't want to receive what will come from doing that. But these are the types of people that will do that and then fall apart because they're doing that and wonder why everything's going so messed up for them. Because you're doing horrible, evil, hexy stuff. Like, stop doing stupid shit and you won't get those stupid prizes. You'll have a skepticism of intuition and emotional guidance, relying solely on intellect and logic for decision making. So again, like, oh, well, you know, the FTC or the BBBs and the AAAs, they all said this, and not trusting their intuition because they don't have it. They're just having, like, their only emotional response would be more so a manipulative one, where they may not even understand why they're doing what they're doing, like why they're hexing somebody, why they're so offended, why they're so angry. Resistance to personal transformation and healing. So these would be, you know, if this energy is overtaking somebody, these are going to be the people that are just progressively getting worse, always getting worse. It's okay to go up and down, but like these people will probably continuously just like deteriorate physically. They're not going to be appeasing because they care about it so much and because they are not good. So that reflects physically. What you are inside will reflect outside. A disconnection from the like natural world, a fear of confronting their own shadows and their darkness, because again, that would be like, I've got to admit that I have wrongdoing, or that I have insecurities, or that there's something that's not perfect about me. Difficulty establishing genuine and deep connections with people because they don't have that thing in them to allow that to happen. A belief in agendas, seeing the world, you know, in the way that would benefit them, you know, like their agendas are going to be like they're going to be the ones that are for the things that are harming others. They may be obsessive in their ways of doing things, again, a fear of vulnerability. If they're so logical, or because they're so cut off from emotions, or because their inability to acknowledge like what's going on internally. So like if you're worried about like, am I under the impacts of this, or like is this energy impacting me in a negative way, like do I have attachment of this energy, like, you know, the Archons trying, because I feel like we're all under this energy, where to some degree, because we live on this planet where it's present, right? And to different degrees you may be sucked into those things. So the best way is to just do like self-reflection and exploring yourself and asking yourself like, what's truly important, what are your motivations for things, what are the behaviors that you're putting up into this world. Are you driven by a desire to control others? Are you trying to manipulate others? Do you feel like you're more important than others? Do you struggle with empathy, compassion, or taking responsibility for your actions? Or are you somebody that's capable of acknowledging like, okay, I messed up, and like truly feel badly when you make those mistakes? Do you see yourself as separate from or better than others? Do you hold negative views about humanity in the world? And I think there's different ways of looking at that too. It's like, you, like when I look at the world, I see a lot of problems, and I can be like, yeah, humanity's kind of messed up, but I know that at the core, like most people, a majority of people are not inherently bad people. They're not here to do these evil things. They don't want what's happening here, but there's a small, minute amount that are allowing this to be. We're all allowing it to be, but they're the ones that are like creating it. You know, they're the ones that are making it happen. Assess your relationship with your emotion and your intuition. Do you struggle to connect with your feelings, or do you dismiss them as unreliable? Do you dismiss like, oh, and then find yourself later on like, I should have? And if you do, start trying to work on allowing yourself to acknowledge like, I'm okay to trust my intuition. It's okay to work on myself. It's okay to acknowledge what isn't working so that I can make other things work better for me. Like if you saw a lot of these things within yourself, go within and just look at yourself and be like, where is this stuff coming up in me? Where am I allowing this energy to impact me negatively? And then be forgiving for yourself and compassionate with yourself, and acknowledge that the world is kind of a way right now where these things are just present, and it's easy to get inundated with stuff. It's easy to fall into the traps of the ego. But if you're here, you're most likely awakening. You're most likely coming out of that. And it's not going to happen overnight. We're always going to have those things where it's like we can get like influenced by the luxury things, or the fancy things, or looking a certain way, or having enough likes, and just all of those things that can just be detrimental to you anyways, because when you get caught up in that stuff and you're not feeding, like if it doesn't feed you enough, it's gonna deplete you. So try to come up with more like, what is actually important to me, and just forgive yourself when you do find those things. Try to become more empathic to others and understanding of others, and not fall into the thing of like, everybody's bad and evil and this whole world is just going to die. And I have a lot of Capricorn energy, and Capricorns are very cynical, or it's more so like we're just like a dry sense of humor. So a lot of times I'll say things that I don't truly mean, or I'll dismiss things that like in a jokey way, but I don't truly mean it or feel that way about stuff. Like me and my sister, she's a Capricorn, so like just different things will come about, and it's like we'll see something that's like, this will take 10 years off your life. I'm like, sign me up. And it's a joke. But these types of other energies would be more serious about that type of stuff. Embrace your personal responsibility. Take ownership about your actions and your choices, and learn from your mistakes. Again, and if you've seen yourself do that, then know that you're most likely not under the energy of the Archons, that you don't really resonate with that you are evolving and growing, that you are healing, that you're not a manipulative control freak, you're not trying to hurt people through a guise of pretending like you're helping them. Engaging in spiritual practices like meditation, mindfulness, shadow work, journaling, looking for a higher purpose for yourself, all of those things will help to keep you up and away from those lower dimensional frequencies that come about with the Archon energy. So hopefully this will serve you guys. Thank you very much. Like I said, message me. I've messaged you back. Hopefully you'll get it. If not, you can always use the contact page on my website. That may be more reliable. I think it has you put in your email. Or if you do message me through the little chat thing, just send me your email or a way to connect with you so that I can respond to you for the ones that I didn't get back to. It's not that I didn't try. It's just you may be able to just open up back up and communicate with me again. Depends on if you close the window or not. But yeah, and the Munay keys are on sale. My Etsy shop has a sale. There's new readings on my website. There's a career reading. There's a starseed origin reading. There's a past life reading. There's a general reading. You can ask me questions, or you can just be open to receive. Different lengths. And I got a bunch of crystals that I'm posting. I organized over here today. It looks a lot better. The whole table set up. I got all my crystals set up so I could just boop, 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 and post them. I'm getting rid of a lot of really nice crystals that I've had for a long time. Some of them are already posted. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll be back. Let me know what you guys want me to do for the next one. If you have one that you can think of. If you don't know the names of them, don't worry about it. But yeah, in Munay, namaste.